Na debe ambalo linamalizia ni la uwaniaji ugavana. Nafikiri hao ndio mambo ambayo yako, na debe ambalo linafuata bara la urais ni debe la uwaniaji ubunge. Nafikiri ndio masuala ambayo yanaendelea Lulu, ukiangalia katika siku hii ya leo naona kwamba hata ule muda ambao watu wanatumia kwa hivi visa viwili ambao tumeweza kuviona, kuchukuliwa zile kuonekana stakabadhi zako baada ya kuweza kuchukua kidole chako katika mashine ya Kimskit, ni muda ambao kweli unasonga kwa kasi. Hivyo basi kwamba haya ndio baadhi ya masuala ambao Wakenya wangetaka kwamba yaendelee hivyo kuanzia sasa mpaka wakati ambapo vituo vya kupiga kura vitakuwa vinafungwa, ili kila mtu atumie muda mchache zaidi kituoni, atimize haki yake ya kimsingi, aelekeze zake nyumbani, aangalie chaguo la Kenya 2022 ama Kenya's Choice 2022, atapata yote ambayo atakuwa anaendelea katika nchi yetu ya Kenya kuliko kukaa katika vituo vya kupigia kura. Ni swala ambalo limeweza kupigwa marufuku kwamba ondoka, wache wanahusika waendelee kukaa sehemu hizo.
Hadi kufikia sasa, Rashid, nahisi kuna mpangilio fulani ambao kidogo unaweza kuridhisha, hasa kwa mtazamaji na pia kwa ule mpiga kura aliyeweza kufanya foleni katika vituo mbalimbali. Wameweza kufungua vituo saa 12 kamili ikilinganishwa na miaka iliyopita, na ukiangalia kwamba hawachukui zaidi ya wapiga kura 700 katika kituo kimoja.
Naam, na kwa hivyo sasa nafikiri mbali na kwamba kwa tunazungumzia Bi Martha Karua ambako pale pembeni akiwa anachukua anapiga kura, ni eneo la siri lile ambalo ni siri yako, uruhusiwi kusumbuliwa na mtu yote. Uende ukaweke alama, ukitaka kuweka alama ya kidoti ni wewe, ukitaka kuweka alama ya tiki ni wewe, ukitaka kuweka alama ya makasi ni wewe, lakini jua tu kwamba alama ile isishuke chini zaidi. Na pia vile vile naibu wa Rais William Samoei Ruto hivi sasa anatumbukiza kwa utaratibu, ashafanya maamuzi yake, ashapigia tiki, ashaweka doti vile alivyoamua yeye nani anayemchagua, na hivi sasa anaweka zile karatasi za wagombea katika kila debe. Ukiangalia
na ukiangalia Rashid, zoezi hili upande huu wa Sugoi halijachukua zaidi ya dakika 5 tangu naibu rais aweze kuwasili. Hii inamaanisha kwamba ni zoezi ambalo linaendelea shwari, kila kitu kiko shwari, na pia vile vile Bi Martha Karua kwa upande mwingine pia ameanza kutumbukiza kura zake katika.
And there you have it. It's finally the 9th of August, the day that Kenyans across the world have been waiting for. And of course, you can see on your screen visuals from the Kenyan elections. Martha Karua, the vice presidential candidate of the Orange Democratic Movement, there casting a vote. We earlier also showed you visuals from William Ruto, of course, who is the main opposition candidate, well, current vice president of Kenya, who of course is contesting as president, also casting his votes there. It's going to be a really big day. And for the next couple of hours, we will be following with the elections in Kenya and bringing you live updates and very interesting conversations on exactly how it turns out. This morning, it's a full studio we have. Morning, Rita.
Good morning, Osa. It's going to be a full day today. Finally, the day has arrived that Kenyans get to cast their vote and pick who will lead them for the next years in the presidential election. A lot of people have been waiting for the Kenyan election. And we, as you said earlier on, we saw Martha Karua. A lot of people are looking forward to these elections, especially with the deputy president on the platform of the Raila Odinga, who is a political rival of William Ruto. We see the intricacies going on in Kenya, and we do hope that the election is going to be a smooth one. I am Rita Omodia, and just to kickstart the conversation, we had results, or rather news yesterday of some elections were cancelled in some government polls, in some local government polls in Kenya, and this is just some hours of the election. This is going to be a major talking point for today as we see millions of people casting their ballots in Kenya's elections.
Absolutely, and of course lots of things, and talking points I will be sharing with you. The percentage of voters that are expected in the Kenyan elections from their 53 to 54 million strong population. And also, good thing we started with showing you visuals of Martha Karua. It's an interesting talking point, how much she would also encourage female voters across Kenya, and how important that is. Raila Odinga, of course, used to be a strong rival to the current president, Uhuru Kenyatta. He lost, against him in 2017 when Uhuru Kenyatta was elected as president. And of course, he currently is running under the same party as Uhuru Kenyatta. And it's one of the things that I had spoken about a few weeks ago, how that works. Your main rival now becoming the person that you are supporting as president, and your vice president running against your current party. And so these are some of the things that we will be speaking about. We have, of course, a guest via Zoom who will be joining us, and of course, someone here in the studio also to share his thoughts with us on these very, very big conversations. And of course, we're hoping that Kenyans come out, exercise their civic responsibilities, and of course decide who leads them for the next 5 years.
Yes, and we have with us right here in the studio Vincent Otieno, is a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio, Vincent.
Thank you for having me.
We also have Dr. David Masanga. He will join us online via Zoom. Thank you so much, Dr. Masanga, for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Africa.
We also have Justin with us online. Thank you so much for joining us on this special coverage.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right, so we'll start with Vincent right here in the studio. And we start with the first scenes we just saw there, Martha Karua, the vice presidential candidate for Raila Odinga. Now, how much of an influence is Martha Karua? We've heard so many things about Martha Karua, and a lot of people, a lot of females actually vying for Martha Karua. So how much of an influence is Martha Karua?
Well, thank you for having me. Martha is well known as an Iron Lady. That is the name that many people know her with. And this is because of the stand that she has in relation to integrity in all the public offices that she has been in. And in relation to the influence that she has as...
All right.
All right, Vincent, just hold on that thought there. Let's just quickly get scenes of Martha Karua right now.
Privilege. I'll tell them I have voted. You can see the ink. Kindly get out and vote. It's our day today to determine the direction this country takes. Make your voice heard.
As a voter, how do you feel?
Kosache Primary School, which is just a school near to my home. I feel very good that after so many months of campaigning and speaking to the people of Kenya and selling our agenda and our manifesto and having discussions across the country, this morning it's D-Day, and we have come to vote with my wife and my neighbors and the people in this community. As you have all seen, everybody here wants a peaceful process. We even have had a spontaneous prayer, and that prayer was all about having a peaceful election. So I'm very happy that this morning the exercise of choosing the next leaders of Kenya for the next 5 years is now underway, not just here, but everywhere in Kenya. I want to ask all voters like myself to do this exercise, go vote peacefully and intentionally and deliberately, so that we can choose the men and women who have a plan to take our country to the next level over the next 5 years. I am very confident that the people of Kenya will make choices that will take our country to the future. This morning, the people, the people of Kenya will choose. And let me say that in moments like this is when the mighty and the powerful come to the realization that it is the simple and the ordinary that eventually make the choice. And this morning, in their simplicity, in their being ordinary, every Kenyan will choose the next leaders for our country. And all of us submit to the authority and the power of the vote as exercised by every Kenyan. It is upon all of us to respect the choices of the people of Kenya, as will be done today in every part of the Kenya, in every part of the Republic of Kenya. And I look forward to a victorious day. Ningependa kusema ya kwamba nimefurahi sana asubuhi ya leo kuungana na familia yangu, mke wangu hapa na jamaa wa kijiji yangu hapa Kosachei katika location hii ya Sugoi. Nimefurahi sana kwamba tumepata nafasi asubuhi ya leo mapema ili tuweze kupiga kura, na Wakenya katika sehemu zote wapate nafasi ya kuamua viongozi wao wa miaka mitano ijayo. Mimi niko na imani ya kwamba wananchi wa Kenya wataweza kuamua viongozi wenye mpango na sera na agenda ya kupeleka taifa letu la Kenya. Leo ni siku ya muhimu sana kwa sababu uchaguzi huu ni uchaguzi tofauti. Ni uchaguzi ambapo Wakenya sana watapigia kura sera na mpango. Tofauti na pale nyuma ambapo tulikuwa tunapigia mambo mengine kama jamii na mambo zingine. Na nimefurahi sana kwamba demokrasia ya taifa letu la Kenya imefika mahali hapa, mahali tunaweza kuchagua mpango na sera yenye inaweza kufaidi wote katika taifa letu la Kenya, sio kuchagua tu viongozi wapate vyeo. Kila Mkenya anapiga kura leo kuchagua viongozi, lakini zaidi kuchagua mpango ambayo kila kiongozi amewaeleza Wakenya, na ni jambo la muhimu na la maana sana katika kukuza demokrasia ya taifa letu la Kenya. Mimi nazidi kuwahimiza Wakenya kazi hii, shughuli hii ya muhimu ya kikatiba ya kupiga kura tuendeshe kwa njia ya amani, ili tuweze kupata nafasi mzuri ya kuchagua viongozi wetu wote, kuanzia MCA na wabunge wetu, magavana wetu na rais wa jamhuri yetu ya Kenya, ili tupate nafasi ya kupeleka taifa letu mbele katika njia ya demokrasia. Unless there is any other issue, I wanted to say that I am a very proud Kenyan this morning that it has come to this moment. I know that I am running for president the first time, and it's quite a moment. And I am confident, and I trust in God the way I have in the past, that these two will come home. So I am looking forward to a great day. I am asking every citizen, wherever we are, to choose our leader.
If you just joined us, this is a special broadcast covering the Kenya elections 2022. And that man you just saw there, that is William Ruto, the current Vice President of Kenya and running for a presidential candidate. And I must say that was a very long speech from William Ruto, giving so much hope for the fact that this election will be peaceful. And he came out also with the campaign strategy he has been given since, with the hustler and dynasty strategy. And he said the simple ones will come out to vote today. And we also saw Martha Karua, popularly referred to as the Iron Lady, saying the D-Day has come and that she's hoping for the best. We see so much optimism from the two candidates there. William Ruto coming for the presidential candidacy, and Martha Karua coming for the deputy presidential candidacy under Raila Odinga. We still have it us Vincent Otiono. And before we go over to what William Ruto said, let's still continue with Martha Karua, the Iron Lady of the day. She came out to say that she's hopeful for today and that Kenyans will decide the best. So what influence, and going back to the previous question I asked you, what influence does Martha Karua have in this election?
Thank you. I think it's a good strategy based on the timing of their voting. Is a motivation to the women and those who are still at home that yes, it is time to go and vote. And with her taking the first step to go and vote as early as now is a motivation, and it shows that she is ready to give it all. And it's a very good motivation to other people. But also, if we talk about the other influence that this is bringing as far as this election is concerned, I normally say this is like another Kamala Harris effect, because we're going to have the same. If you look at the impact that Kamala Harris had in the election of Biden in USC, in relation to the impact that Martha is bringing to this election, is almost the same. Because in Kenya, you find that, well, our women vote, they do vote, but this is an extra motivation to them. That means all the women that never voted before, or all the women that had not made their decision on where to cast their vote. Now they have somebody that they can look up to, and they know where they are going to take their vote.
Now, Vincent, while you say that the women are looking up to Martha Karua, we know that earlier on Martha Karua was against the Building Bridges initiative, which Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta had once proposed before the court stepped down. Do you think it was fair for her to join a side that she was so much against? Do you think she's playing balance there?
Well, this is politics, still about interest. But as far as the BBI is concerned, you find that there were issues that were raised in the BBI. There were the positive side and the negative side. And she raised the issues. So as at the moment, BBI did not go through. So we can give her the benefit of the doubt that, well, maybe she's decided to go with the other side, because as at now, the BBI stopped. Okay. I think I can put it like that.
Okay. All right, let's now bring in David Masanga, who's joining us via Zoom, and of course get him on the conversation. Also, David Masanga, I want you to speak with regards William Ruto. He, of course, is Vice President to Uhuru Kenyatta. Would you say he's running off the approval rating of Uhuru Kenyatta, because they've been in government for 5 years? Is he running off Uhuru Kenyatta's approval rating somehow? Or, of course, bringing forth a totally different perspective towards Kenya's future?
Which perspective? My brother in the studio, thank you very much, and thank you, Rita. Rita knows my views are very, very critical, and I don't take anything that is lying. Let me tell you frankly, Ruto is not running on anything. Ruto is just running on lies. Ruto was the deputy president of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Ruto absconded work. Ruto went out to campaign for 4 years. Ruto took allowances without work. He didn't work for 4 years. And he doesn't want to acknowledge anything that has happened in the 4 years in Kenya. Otieno might not be telling you authoritatively, but as a senior man in Africa, I'm telling you authoritatively, there are two choices here. The people of Kenya are faced with two choices. They are electing Democrats and the Liberators. The Democrat is Raila Amolo Odinga. The Liberator is Raila Amolo Odinga and Martha Karua. They are electing non-corruptible people on Raila Odinga's ticket. And on the other ticket, we are electing convicts who have been convicted of crimes well known by Kenyans, but because of the law, the lacuna in the constitution has allowed them to be on the ballot, which is going to be sorted after today.
Mr. Masanga, I would like you to speak. You've said William Ruto didn't work for 4 years
Yes.
while he was vice president to Uhuru Kenyatta. So did Uhuru Kenyatta make a wrong choice initially, picking him as vice president?
The constitution, my brother, the constitution of Kenya made a wrong choice. In Kenya, it is not like in Nigeria where General Buhari can choose his running mate, and he can actually choose to eliminate him or to take him out of the deputy presidency. You remember the question of Atiku and Buhari, and Obasanjo. When you look at the Kenyan constitution, that once you are together on the ballot as running mate of the president, William Ruto was a running mate of Uhuru Kenyatta, and therefore the constitution binds them together. Uhuru Kenyatta cannot sack William Ruto. Up to today, William Ruto still has powers of a deputy president, as he has just been voting in his home area. But he did not work. He did not work. I'm now telling you frankly, I am not biased. I am not what? He went to campaign. He disobeyed the orders of President Uhuru Kenyatta. He even actually, in fact, we are lucky. And I want to tell you people, the world listening to me, we are lucky that President Uhuru Kenyatta is alive today. There are so many things that I cannot tell you on this television station. I cannot tell you.
All right, Dr. Masanga, why you tell us of so many things that Raila Odinga has done? I know he's running for a few times for presidency, but just hold on that thought while we get some live feedbacks right now in Mombasa, where our correspondent Kennedy right now is there. Kennedy, can you tell us and give us up to speed on what is happening in Mombasa right now? Kennedy, can you hear me?
All right, well, we'll try to fix that connection with Kennedy, who's live in Kenya, to, of course, bring us up to speed on what's going on at the elections. I'm going to come back to David Masanga, but I would like Vincent Otieno to, of course, say something, concerning what David Masanga has said. Do you agree? Is this the popular narrative across Kenya that William Ruto didn't work for 4 years and, he seemingly absconded, like David Masanga has said?
Yeah, I will agree with him to some extent, because the same way our president, Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, said it before, that some people, though he said that in quotes, he never mentioned name at that time, but he said that some people have been working on top of vehicles, which particularly means they're just campaigning. Since they got into office, they have been campaigning since the first day of their re-election. So I really agree with them. And also, he talked about the integrity issues about Mr. Ruto, which is somehow true. There are many allegations that have been raised by, many issues about him, and most of them are corruption-related issues. So I agree with him.
Okay, let's still hear from Justin Nzioka is also joining us online. Justin, let's have your view on William Ruto's presidency. Right now, we saw him cast his vote, and he mentioned the fact that the simple ones are going to come out and vote. And you also heard from Dr. Masanga talking about the political gimmicks of William Ruto. What's your take on the strategy placed by William Ruto?
Okay, on my side, what I can say is that in as much as the DP failed at some point, all that must be done is for Kenyans to be led and exercise their will, because I don't see although the DP failed at some point, nobody is a saint. So what is there? We should not take it upon ourselves to happen like we are trying to beat Ruto. We are trying to victimize him. We are trying to criticize him. Yes, it has been said that he has been like campaigning for the last 4 years. But has anyone ever asked what happened so that the DP could start the early campaigns? Because if you can trace back for the 4 years, that happens to be around 2018 when the handshake happened. So on my side, it could be like possibly the handshake triggered DP Ruto's decision so that he can start cultivating for his presidency. Because by the show of things, it was like the moment President Kenyatta decided to bury the hatchet and join his opponent, Raila Odinga, it was like DP sensed something that in as much as he was going to be part and parcel of the government, chances were that the outgoing president may or may not support him for the 2022 presidency. And to my opinion, that is why possibly the DP decided to go ahead and start poaching for the presidency the earliest time possible. So that's what I think pushed the DP into his early campaigns ahead of his 2022 presidential bid. So what we can do,
right.
let Kenneth decide.
Okay, of course, Kenyans already decided now. We still have our correspondent Kennedy with us. Kennedy, can you get us up to speed of what is going on in Mombasa right now?
Well, a very good morning to you. I am not in Mombasa. I am in Nairobi, actually at the polling station where Raila Odinga will be expected to come in at around 10 o'clock. That is East African time. And already, as you can see from that video, is that the queues are building up as voting started about 40 minutes ago. And all of them are upbeat that this is the time that they want to come in and vote and probably go back home and attend to other matters. What you are seeing right now on your screens is that there are people who are coming in to find out their streams and where they will be voting from. And these are the queues that are there. Remember, each polling station is a primary school that has a number that is capped at around 700 per polling station. So these are the people that are coming in. And probably if we are going into the room to see what is happening and the voting, is that there are those that are saying that this is one of the streams. It's number 7, and it is at Kibra constituency, Makina ward, and Old Kibra Primary School, and that is the voting that is ongoing at this time. And all you can see is that when one comes in, they are identified through this KEMS kit that is property of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Then, if they are not found, then there's a document that one signs. Then they go, and these are the ballot papers that they are being given. Is this the presidential? They're given these ballot papers where they go and they are marked with the IEBC, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission stamp. Then immediately one is done with that, then there is this polling booth where one goes to vote. It is secret ballot, so we are not allowed to see as he marks the ballot papers. Then on this other side, he will come in and drop these papers, the ballot papers on this, and they are marked very well. That is the presidential. Then there is the member of National Assembly. Then there is the member of County Assembly. I hope you can see that.
Yes.
The member of County Assembly. Then there is the senator for Nairobi. Then you can come and see the woman representative for Nairobi. Then there's the governor. And each of these boxes have a different color as it is marked in the ballot papers. The ballot papers have a unique color. So for this one, when you see that it is in yellow, you know that that is the ballot paper and the ballot box for the senator. Then you have the agents for the different candidates that are contesting in this election, and all of them have been invited to observe this exercise as it goes on, so that if anything goes wrong, they have the liberty to probably raise their voices and say that what we have seen is not what we expected, is not what we were taught should happen. So this is a process that is already going on as it should at this particular hour. But we are keeping tabs just to make sure that we bring you up to speed with what is happening and the details of what will be happening if there is anything that will be occurring. But as it starts right now, the queues are long. Kenyans have come out to vote and make sure that they exercise their democratic right here in Nairobi, where Raila Odinga will be voting.
All right, but since you're on ground, I would like to ask you, and I think David Masanga, I'm also going to bring you in on this one. What are the real demands of Kenyans? You know, for those who have come out to vote, what really, are they seeking from their government? That of course might be deciding factors which party and which candidate that they, move towards.
Probably one of the most interesting things about this election is that it has been made about the economy and how to resuscitate it. Remember, coming post-COVID, there has been that problem where most families cannot fend for themselves, and also the cost of living has gone up, not just in Kenya, but in most parts of the world. So the question of economy and how to fend for people's families has been very key. Also, the question of unemployment is also political parties are now promising to provide probably over 1 million jobs a year. So those are some of the key issues that have come in. And we would want to know whether it is a question that that Kenyans will look at. But interestingly, is that when people get to the voting booth, it becomes more about the tribe where one comes from and the political inclination they have had. The other bit is that no matter how much campaign has been done in this country, people had already taken lines with regards to who they would have wanted to vote for. So the voting patterns here in Kenya are mostly and still very ethnic, and people will revert to their tribal kingpins when the elections hit the rubber.
All right. Thank you so much, Kennedy. But before we let you go, let's look at the security atmosphere around the polling area. What can you say about that?
Security is very tight at every polling station. And interestingly, what used to happen in the year 2017 is that, or earlier, the one primary school would be said to be a polling center. But right now, there are various streams that we have. Probably if my camera person will show, is that this is one polling station, the other one is another, the other one is another. So in this one, the whole country, we are looking at 46,000 polling stations. So per polling station, there are 2 police officers that have been attached. So you can imagine if this particular primary school has about 15 polling stations, that is two police officers per polling station. That is about 30 police officers just in one primary school. So if anyone would want to cause any mayhem at this particular point, they would not be given the opportunity to do so.
All right. Thank you so much, Kennedy. We'll get back to you subsequently. But we want to have the take of Dr. Masanga, especially on the deciding factors of this election. Now, he mentioned 2 major things. He mentioned economy and ethnicity. Now, we see the 2 presidential candidates not from the major Kikuyu tribe, but we see that their deputy presidential candidates are from there. So comparing it with the 2017 elections, do you see ethnicity as a major deciding factor, or the people are more focused on the economical part of the elections?
First of all, I want to tell you that all African elections are based on tribes and ethnicity. I can start from your own place. the biggest population always votes, and they come out in big numbers. 84 million registered voters in that elections in Nigeria on the 28th turned out to vote the General Buhari. So elections in Africa, first, let's make it very clear. As a school, I want to tell you, they are based on tribes. We haven't moved away from tribal inclinations. Ethnicity is still one of the factors that propels elections in Africa. Point number 2, the gentleman Mjoka mentioned the handshake. I don't want to forget that. One of the things that Uhuru Kenyatta did, and Uhuru Kenyatta brought on board, which Africa is taking, have taken that model to Zimbabwe. And you will soon see Mnangagwa and Chamisa shaking hands. Uhuru Kenyatta brought a model that Africa needs. For me, that is the basic thing that Uhuru has done for this country, Kenya. It was burning after 2017, after the nullification of the elections by the Supreme Court. There was violence. People died. Otieno will tell you how many people died. And that one, when Uhuru took his hand, brought it out, and Raila brought his hand out. No African. It is only people who are not well-meaning for Africa who can condemn such an action. Uhuru stopped the killings, stopped the hatred, stopped, and the country started moving. Point number 3, on the question of economy and the voting, what do the people in Kenya want? I think that's the question you were asking. What do they want? The people want corruption to go away. If you look at the two sides, one of the manifestos, and look at both sides, I've studied both manifestos. I can tell you frankly and proudly that the manifesto of UDA is Captain Lugard's manifesto. And if you have studied political science and the history of East Africa and Nigeria, you see Captain Lugard arrived in Lagos and made Nigeria, registered it on stock exchange in London so that he can take the oil, he can take all the things. That's exactly what he did in Kenya, registered Kenya as a stock exchange company. So the UDA manifesto is simply Captain Lugard. The Raila manifesto is a manifesto that touches the people. If you look at the people, it is people-centered. It talks about the welfare state. It talks about fighting corruption. And Rita and my brother in the studio, the key word here, whoever is going to win this election today in Kenya, must tell Kenyans how he's going to stop corruption.
Dr. Masanga, I'm going to still speak on corruption before we bring in Vincent, because I'm sure he would like to respond. But if you're talking corruption, William Ruto, of course, you've mentioned, has some allegations against him, and you stated that already. But of course, Uhuru Kenyatta, if you remember when the Pandora Papers, leak was released a few months ago, he was also named, and his family was also named. Did this in any way do any damage to his credibility?
Let me tell you, the Pandora Papers are family. It's have nothing to do with the president, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. It's the family business, and it is open for scrutiny. We are not talking about Uhuru going to the coffer or bringing a railway to Kenya and then Ruto taking 10% out of the railway. As Uhuru was borrowing money, let me tell you, Rita and my brother, and if Otieno doesn't tell you, I am one man in Africa who says it all. Look, if Uhuru went to borrow money, the rate of inflation has gone high because Uhuru went to borrow money. When he brings money in the country, our brother who has left us, remember, Rita, I am the one who went to ICC to remove these two men. And I know them very well. They know me very well. They respect me very well. That's why Ruto cannot say a word when I'm talking. Because I stood and I lost quite a lot as an editor in Africa. When Uhuru was bringing money, Ruto was taking money through kickbacks. And that is how these projects became a big mess. So when you talk about the Pandora Papers are family businesses. The family businesses work everywhere. There's nobody in the world, even the Queen has got money kept in Pandora boxes. Has she been arrested? This is money that has come from the hard work. Uhuru Kenyatta's family has got businesses. Just as Ruto has serious businesses invested in other countries, not Kenya. He's invested businesses in my country. He has taken businesses in my country. And the people of Kenya, the younger men, cannot have jobs. But he has taken money in my country. I'm not happy about that. For Kenyans not to have money in their own country. And the man has exported all the businesses across to Uganda.
Dr. David Masanga, of course, you know, I'm guessing we can still call these allegations. You know, if he has not been found guilty of anything.
Okay, let's call them allegations.
Okay. Dr. Masanga, while you were praising Raila Odinga's handshake, now a lot of people with Uhuru Kenyatta, a lot of people said that this was just a gimmick because it brought out the Building Bridges initiative so that Uhuru Kenyatta can still remain in power. Don't you think that's a fault on Uhuru Kenyatta?
No, we are going to African Union, Commonwealth, peace missions. But Rita, you are lucky you are talking to Uhuru Kenyatta almost here. This is the man also behind Uhuru Kenyatta. We are not staying in Kenya for 1 minute. Once we hand over the power to Raila Amolo Odinga, he will win by the day.
When the people decide.
Call me tomorrow. I have already done my opinion, Paul. It's my personal opinion. I'm entitled to. And call me tomorrow. I'll tell you, I'll be proud. Uhuru Kenyatta is not going to stay here. He's not staying around here to involve himself. Of course, he's a Kenyan. But Uhuru Kenyatta is a Pan-African, an international man. You have seen how much he has liked to talk about the climate change, international investment, peace missions. Uhuru Kenyatta succeeded in making COVID-19 go away, while Ruto was even fighting him not to bring medicines for COVID-19 into Kenya. Ruto went to Russia to pick COVID vaccines while Kenyans were suffering. Please, here, these are not allegations. I'm not alleging that Ruto has stolen money somewhere, but I'm saying there are serious perceptions. Otieno is in the studio, can tell you. Serious perceptions.
So, Dr. Masanga, let's hear from Otieno now, Vincent. We see there's two people, Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto, who came in for the presidential candidacy, coming together, and all of a sudden we see a situation where there's somehow a disparity between William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta, and then we see an alliance between the president and his long rival, Raila Odinga. You've heard from Dr. Masanga. He's saying so much about the achievements of Uhuru Kenyatta with that handshake. Do you think, or rather, what's your own view of this relationship between Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta?
Well, I want to just ask one question, is that these are friends that have been together for so long. That means, actually, in 2002, they were together. So they are long-time friends. But if Uhuru Kenyatta just comes out and say, no, I don't trust this man because of 1, 2, 3. If the crocodile comes out of water and tells us that one of the, either the fish or whatever is sick,
is dead.
Should we not trust the crocodile? Because they stay inside water, all of them are there. So when we talk about handshake, and I think this is to the interest of the nation, that is what Uhuru Kenyatta acted for, the interest of the nation. And if we talk about these allegations, as we put it, let's not say they're corrupt, that he's corrupt or no, but as we say that the allegations that are being raised, why is it that only one person, not only and after the handshake, but even before, when he was in the Ministry of Agriculture, there were issues that were raised. When he was in the all the sectors that he has touched, there are allegations or corruption cases that have been raised about him. But then when we talk about the handshake, there are many, many importance of this handshake. As the Prof said, Kenya was burning. Every Monday, we call them Maandamano Monday. Every Monday, people would go to the street to demonstrate. There was no business. There was no... Kisumu was a hot point. I mean, it was burning. No investor would go to Kisumu. But right now, Kisumu is one of the best and one of the best, the peaceful places to visit. So I think the benefits of the handshake outweighs the disadvantages that could have. The benefits of the handshake are more better than if we could not have that handshake at that time. It was really necessary to have the handshake at that time. It's for the betterment for the nation. And also, it talked about tribalism, but this tribalism, I want to look at it at different point, because for the first time in history, we find ourselves as a Kenya in a very confused state, because we have three major ethnic groups: the Kalenjin, the Kikuyu, the Luos, and of course the Western. The Luyas are also there. These are some of the major ethnic groups that determine the election of Kenya. So for the first time, we're not having a presidential aspirant from the Kikuyu community, but we are having two deputy presidents from the same ethnic group. But we say that, okay, I agree, African politics is all about ethnic groups. It's all about either religion or tribal.
It plays, a large...
It plays a major role, yeah. But in Kenya, there is something playing on today, that in as much as President Uhuru Kenyatta is a Kikuyu, but he doesn't control fully the Kikuyu community. And at least things have changed since the naming of Martha Karua, who is a Kikuyu. As things have tried to change. Raila have been trying to climb the mountain, because the Kikuyu community is in the mountain region, so Mount Kenya is in the central region. So Raila has been trying to climb this Kikuyu, the mountain. But in as much as he tried, he cannot get up to half. Maybe.
So does it mean that Raila Odinga doesn't have so much influence? Because a lot of people were expecting a lot of influence from Uhuru Kenyatta being a Kikuyu and a president for that matter. So what influence does Uhuru Kenyatta have on Raila Odinga's presidency?
One thing is that when we look at Mount Kenya, which controls about 6-point-something million registered voters as of 2022, is that Raila could not get up to 10%. But now he can get up to 30%.
So how did that change? Because he lost in 2017.
He is going to increase about 20% to his basket. That was never there before. Do you understand it? So if 20% of the of 6 million, that's a good number. This number was never there. So what I'm trying to say is that in as much as Uhuru Kenyatta is a Kikuyu, is not fully in control of Kikuyu land, of the Kikuyus, because of the impact, of the agreement that they had before. Of course, they said, you serve 10 terms, I serve 10 terms. That is the agreement that they had when they were forming a pact back then. But based on the disagreement that they had, he decided to move out of the agreement that they had before. So in Kenya today, as far as the Kikuyu community is concerned, is really not going to play an ethnical angle as much as we could have expected it to play. But of course, I can say that there is some small influence or rather small impact on it.
Okay, what about the economy? Uhuru Kenyatta has been the president, and we see inflation rising up to 8.3%. And now we see this same man supporting Raila Odinga. Wouldn't it have or cast a dark shadow on Raila Odinga's presidency?
Well, it's not only in Kenya. The war in Ukraine, right now, something is happening in Taiwan.
The war in Ukraine just started this year.
But at one point, let me say, the major issue that affected the economy under Uhuru administration is about corruption. At one point, he said that in Kenya, we are losing about 2 billion per day going to people's pockets. And if you look at the sources or where all this money were directed to, is towards one angle. So I think that by trying to eliminate this, it was trying to curb, or rather to try to help the economy. So I'm just thinking, what could have happened if we did not have handshake? That means our economy could have collapsed.
Oh, wow.
Okay, let's hear from Justin now. We have Justin still online with us. Let's have his reaction to this. Kenya right now has an inflation rate shooting up to 8.3% under Uhuru Kenyatta administration. Will this cast a dark shadow on Raila Odinga, who Uhuru Kenyatta has putted for that he has been loyal to Raila Odinga?
Okay, what I can say is that first and foremost, I cannot deny the fact that, as my colleagues have said, the handshake calmed the political storm and the political heat that was generating in in Kenya. And Kenyatta did a good act to engage his opponent, Raila, so that they could calm the tension that was building. But I still want to emphasize on the 2 billion issue. The 2 billion thing of money, money getting lost on daily basis. What President Kenyatta said is that Kenya was losing 2 billion shillings on a daily basis. But the question was that under whose administration was the money getting lost? It is the same Kenyatta.
Okay, let's hear from Dr. Masanga on this. I know you want to have a reaction on this.
Let me educate in Nzioka, because I am a senior man on this floor. Look, I agree with Nzioka, and I always like students to learn like Nzioka. And I am going to be frank and brutal. Nzioka, you're a Kenyan. The truth, you know it. And I tell my friends in Nigeria, in Lagos studio, the truth. The truth is that corruption is at the epic center, the center of this election. Anybody who is going to change Uhuru Kenyatta, the constitution does not allow him to kill people, to shoot people on firing squad. My sister and brother in the studio, Kenyan constitution does not. Do you know that Rita and my brother, the only country in Africa where you can steal money on Friday, or on Thursday, you are arrested on Friday, you get bail on Monday, on Wednesday, you take your girlfriend to Mauritius with the same money. Do you know that that is Kenyan Nzioka? You are a journalist. And Otieno, you are an analyst. That's the only country. The bail, you see, you steal money on Thursday, you are in court. On Monday, you sleep in a cell for 3 days. On Monday, they bring you to court. The judge gives you bail and sets the bail 1 million from the same money you have stolen. So the problem of Kenya, Nzioka, and Otieno, and others listening is structural challenge. Structures of Kenya, of the constitution, must change. You can't steal 1 shilling in Rwanda. You can't steal a penny in Rwanda, because their structures are very tight.
Well, how would you rate Uhuru Kenyatta's, attempts to fix that structure and create structures that fight corruption in Kenya?
7%. He did very well. I can't give him 10, 7%. He did. He tried. He said, let's go for self-audit. Let everybody, Matanga, bring your asset. Ruto, bring your asset. Ruto started saying, no way. There's no provision in the constitution. That was abandoned. He said he put anti-corruption. He gave money to anti-corruption commission. Whenever you can arrest a thief goes to buy the judiciary. The judiciary releases the thief. Rita and my brother, let Otieno tell you, it is only in Kenya where somebody can go and rape your daughter and seek an anticipatory order for DCI not to arrest him. Is that a constitution? Have you ever seen one like that in the world? Someone goes to court and say the DCI, the director of criminal investigation are coming for me. Give me this protection order. Right. I want to stay with it so that they don't arrest me. Surely, is this a country? Right. That's why.
Dr. Masanga. Dr. Masanga, I really enjoy, your thoughts, but we're going to have to put you on hold. You want to bring in someone who, of course, will be joining us, Kelvin, of course, to share his views on the KN elections. Morning, Kelvin. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Okay.
Right now,
All right.
as you see behind me, there's a voting exercise going on, and there are more than
Kelvin,
10 states
let's start with knowing your location.
Well, yes, we are currently joining this broadcast from Nyali constituency at a polling station called Wanja Wambuzi, that is in Mombasa County. And as you can see, voters are queuing. This is a station, a polling station, where we're expecting shortly the current Mombasa Governor Hassan Joho to come cast his ballot. As of now, we're still waiting for him. But right now, these are just registered voters in this particular polling station who are casting their ballot. This is an event that began at 6 o'clock. That is just close to 30 minutes ago. But IEBC officials who are in charge of this particular process are here. Security officials are also manning to ensure that the voters are assured of their security during the process. Perhaps due to the kind of the numbers that I'm witnessing here, we really don't expect this to take much time because actually this is just the number of voters who currently arrived. There are a couple of others outside just trying to verify their details in the register provided by the electoral agency in the country. But approximately, this is according to the numbers that I'm seeing here, this might probably take 2, 3, 4 hours for all these people to be done, because the voting process, I understand, takes maximum of 5 minutes per voter. The KIMS kits are working very well. The register is verified. All those people whom you're seeing there, they've been allowed here because all their details have already been identified inside the IEBC register. So we're still keeping an eye, monitoring several stations in Mombasa County. There's a total number of 1,041 polling stations, similar like this one, spread across all the 6 constituencies, and 30 wards available in Mombasa County. There are also other stations that have been set in prisons that will only be allowed to vote for the presidential candidate. Remember, just yesterday, the electoral agency in Kenya suspended the election of the governor position here in Mombasa, in Kakamega County, and 2 other constituencies within the country. This is after a mix-up in the ballot papers, and therefore will allow for another date to be set for the voters of this county of Mombasa to come out again and cast their ballot for the position of governor. So that date has not yet been gazetted, as of course we're waiting for this process to be done today from the presidential ballot, the woman representative ballot, the member of National Assembly, member of the county assembly. We also have members who will be representing, or rather the presidential candidates, rather, to be representing the country in today's 2022 general election. The situation is calm. As I said, security has been provided for. There are 2 armed policemen per every polling station in Mombasa, except just a few areas where the polling station had to be removed and shifted to other places, citing security challenges. But I can confirm that there's proper deployment of security resources across Mombasa County and the neighboring counties of within the coast region. There are 6 counties within the coast region. That's one, Mombasa. There's Lamu, there's Tana River County, there's Kilifi County, there's Kwale County, and Taita Taveta County. In Kenya, there's a total of 22 million registered voters who will be casting their ballots today. As we speak right now, the deputy president, who is the flag bearer, the presidential flag bearer under the United Democratic Alliance Party, under the Kenya Kwanza coalition, has already cast his ballot. The deputy president voted at a polling station near his rural home in Sugoi, that is in Sugishu County. And we understand
thank
that
you so
he
much,
also
Kelvin, for the update. I
press,
think what we can see so far,
expressing the kind of confidence.
All right, Calvin, just hold on that. We want to get reactions from our guests there. Thank you so much from the update. Calvin is calling in from Mombasa live in Kenya, giving us an update of the people there. And we can see so far it's quite an organized atmosphere at the polling unit. So I'll go to you, Dr. Masanga. Now, yesterday, the Kenya's Election Commission cancelled 4 local polls and announced the arrest of 6 officials on the eve of this presidential election. Now, how would you rate the conduct of the IEBC? Do you think they've been professional enough looking at the conduct so far?
Otieno knows my stand. And Rita, you have invited me in your studio before. I have been warning Kenyans about the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission. Nzioka knows my stand. My stand in Kenya on IEBC. If I were a Kenyan, I, Dr. David Nyakorati Matsani, I have been added another name called Manzi. I don't know what it means in your country. Manzi means peace, or in your country. I have been added that name. Let me tell you, I would not have allowed this man Chebukati to handle my vote. But the whole thing is here today. This wait. There were so many things that will be used to torpedo what we are doing today. Honestly, Otieno will tell you, anyone, there will be so many petitions in court, starting from tomorrow or starting from the day they announce results.
So you don't trust the IEBC?
And what exactly are the issues with the IEBC? I mean, you see arrests there, you talk about irregularities, talking about even allowing, after the court talked about the manual voter registration, and they went ahead with it. So what exactly are your issues with the IEBC?
Look at the manual. Why did we wait too long? You can't go to court last night, 9 hours to election, and stop. There is a very big problem, structural challenges, obstacles. We go back to the same. The Constitution is very clear that you should not do anything in 24 months about the IEBC must be ready. The Kenyan IEBC was not ready. Look at the mix-up of the papers of Kakamega and Mombasa. The mix-up of Kakamega and Mombasa is a disaster because these are 2 major points. Raila is a hot spot in Kakamega. If that mixture is, I hope that mixture is not with the presidential vote. How do you mix the votes? Because the printing of these ballot papers, and I want to tell you, Rita, I am an investigative journalist. I followed and I warned the people. Otieno, you can read my post. I told you the papers were not printed in Greece. Somebody was airlifting these papers from different parts of the Europe and brought them to show the people who went to view. It is up to the parties themselves. Me, I did my job and I brought up the loopholes as a member of the Fourth Estate and as an activist, international activist. I warned the people, you cannot print papers in Greece because Greece is a country that has burst economically. If I go with 50,000 shillings retail in Greece, the Prime Minister will give me a red carpet because it is gone. The economy is gone. Anybody can do anything in Greece. But God willing today, I want to also not to condemn IEBC fully and condemn them. I want to give them that credibility today that they have been able to distribute these materials. Let's wait until all the voting is done. Perhaps, what about the question that I want to ask, and maybe Otieno and Nzioka will answer me. If both the kits, the voting kits, that is the BVR kit, and all of them close, if the voting kits stop working, if they are hacked by the Russians, for example, they stop working, don't we return to the manual exactly? How long will the election take if we are using the manual? That is my question today.
Okay, let's bring Otieno into this now. Do you feel that there's been some lapses from the IEBC looking at the fact that schools were closed, the manual registration process of which Earlier on, the IEBC spokesperson said that they would go strictly with the digital, but when there was a court injunction, then they allowed for a manual voter registration and the whole process entirely. Do you think that the IEBC has been faulty on this administration for the Kenyan elections?
I think I expected too much from IEBC, but I'm disappointed because they promised us that they have been well prepared. But since starting yesterday, when the kits were being distributed throughout the country, it started with disappointment that a kit from Mombasa, which is in the coast, is found in Kakamega, which is the entire west.
Couldn't
from
those
north
just
and
be
south.
logistics, challenges?
If they are logistical challenges, why are we having what we are having in Mombasa and Kakamega? Why is Mombasa and Kakamega gubernatorial race cancelled? That we are having in Mvita, I read that in Mvita, that is in Kilifi and some parts of Mombasa, that in the voting cards, the ballot papers that were taken in Mombasa, they have aspirants from Kilifi County. How is that? How well were they prepared? Did they just wake up 24 hours to election to start preparing? They knew in our constitution it's well stipulated that we hold elections in the second Tuesday of August after every 5 years. So did they just wake up and realize that we are going to election? They told us that some members of IBC went to check the work that was going on in Greece, to check the preparedness of the election materials. What really did they check? Did they just go for joyriding? What
Challenges do you think they might face? Do you think it was problem of funding, or what exactly are the challenges that IEBC is facing that would make for this slow? You said that they should have been prepared for this election. So what challenges do you think they'll be facing?
I would like to say without any, I'll just say maybe it's somehow incompetence, because they had the time. They raised the issue of their financial problems that they had. They raised it in time. And I hope and I believe that the issue of the financial issue that they have was solved. And if it was not solved, they could have raised it again. They went mute. That means as Kenyans, we expected that whatever they raised was solved. So they don't have any reason. And funny enough, you find the chairperson of the IBC is coming out. It was just out of it was some kind of confusion. This is election. People have been waiting for 5 years. Now, another point that Dr. raised that is very, very interesting is about this Mombasa and Kakamega. These are strongholds of Raila Odinga. These are strongholds of I'm just hoping that there is no foul play. It is not by coincidence. I'm just hoping that this thing is not by coincidence. It's not a plan. It's not well choreographed, something that is happening. I'm just hoping. But that is where now we invite the fourth estate, to do their investigation and the agencies that are concerned with that to try and understand. And if you look at the press that were called by the secretariat, that is the Azimio secretariat, which is headed, I think the press was by Jumeirah Mohammed yesterday evening after what IBC said. They say that they're going to invite the DCI, Director of Criminal Investigation, to go through the process. And I hope that we're going to to know what really happened.
But do you think the supporters will allow for it? Because I saw earlier on Raila Odinga and William Ruto, they said they would allow for peaceful elections and allow the winner, the people, to decide. But with all these hitches and logistical problems going on, the fans, the people who are voting for him or for their different presidential candidates are seeing this force. Do you think you see a protest brewing if it doesn't go the way of each presidential candidate?
Well, they have all promised us they will accept results as they will come, and I just want to give them benefit of doubt that we will accept it. But if there is any foul play, let the agencies are concerned take the action.
All right. Just to also quickly remind our viewers, the election is not being contested by just Raila Odinga and William Ruto. There's 4 persons running for the office of president. There's also a David Wahiga Maure, who's a leader of the Agano Party, and also a clergyman. We also have George Wajakoya, who is a leader of the Roots Party of Kenya and also been referred to as the wild card of the season. It said that he was a spy turned law professor. Very interesting candidates there. And of course, I would have Dr. David Masanga speak on them, but there's something that I want him to first of all start with. Dr. Masanga, one of the key things that we hear when in election season are promises, and campaign promises. In Nigeria, I remember that there was a time people, made mention of 5,000 naira a day to the poorest of the poor and some other things like that. Raila Odinga, of course, one of the things that he said is a social welfare program, which is promising to deliver 6,000 Kenyan shillings, which is about $50 a month, to the nation's neediest households. Sounds very familiar. It sounds very much like promises that we've heard in other countries that, are just said to win elections. Do these things scare you?
They don't scare me. Raila's policies hinged on Adam Smith. If you have read books of economics, the Adam Smith theory is very hinged on Raila's social welfare society. That if we close the loopholes of corruption, if we tighten the nut on corruption, lock people in prison. I'm going to speak on one of the candidates there who has impressed me, even if we are not even. But if you look that, the money of welfare society will come. And the 60,000 is actually easily got. And Raila's theory is hinged on an economic model. The economic model of Mr. William Ruto, my son, my younger man, Ruto, is a very bad economy theory because you don't know bottom up. It is looking for Captain Lugat, bring the money, bring the copper, bring the cotton, bring the rice, bring the sugarcane. They came to Nigeria, bring your gold, bring your gold cost, bring your oil. That is the manifesto of Ruto. Raila's manifesto promises are really very, very good. A free education from primary 1 to university, it is visible. You can do it. If you close those loopholes of corruption, you see people everywhere in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Uganda, in Kenya, in Africa. People talk of Singapore. I think you have heard this small story. Singapore did very well. Singapore did very well. Do you know what Singapore did? Singapore killed people. The Prime Minister of Singapore killed and imprisoned his own brother for life for having stolen money. And then the economy of Singapore grew. Nobody touched the money. So one of the candidates, you want me to say something on Wajikoya. Wajikoya is a very interesting, he was my bouncer. He was my bouncer. He worked at my nightclub in 1998.
Okay.
And he has admitted, he's my younger man. He came to London to seek asylum. He became a refugee when I was already in London. I went to London in 1987, and Wajikoya came in 1990. So I encouraged him to go to school. And I'm very pleased man, very happy man, that I have a man whom I encouraged to go to school as a presidential candidate. But there is one thing that this Wajikoya whom you say has mentioned that has taken my heart. And that thing is, if you touch any money of the economic crime, you take people's money which would have bought medicine in the dispensary, in Onitsha, in Enugu, in Kano, in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, and the people die. Such a person should be sent to prison for life. Wajikoya has said a very radical move, that when he takes power, such a man who touches the money of the government will be hanged. He will bring back a hanging sentence, hang him for having taken money, and that is what Kagame does. That is what Ethiopia did under Zenawi. You see, Kagame today, you can't touch even 1 shilling of Rwanda money. He's put up almost everything that you find in Europe. So here in Africa, we want radical reforms. But unfortunately, for the two candidates, that's why we are on this platform debating on the two men, forgetting there is Wachikoya. Is people in Kenya, the media say, the media people who did the debates, put them in segments, which I opposed. I think, Rita, you had me opposing on this platform.
Yeah.
You cannot now, you know, Wachikoya has already been voted out by being put in a second-tier system. A second-tier system was not very good by the media council and the media owners who arranged the debate. That was very bad, not democratic. But not to lose this point as I allow my friends to come in. If I ever get time in Africa and I get near power, the first thing I will ban Rita and my brother there in the studio are elections.
Okay, let's hear from Justin now. We've had lots of promises, campaign promises from all the presidential candidates: Raila Odinga, William Ruto, George Wajakoya, Waiga. And you saw Odinga promising to deliver 6,000 Kenyan shillings. Meanwhile, William Ruto has promised to improve the medium-sized businesses, and he came up with the hustler and dynasty political strategy. So do you think this will pave a way for him?
All right. One, every candidate has got their manifesto, and for one, a promise is not a guarantee. So you may not be assured of whatever the candidate promises, whether it is what they shall deliver after getting into the elective positions. So maybe we can say Raila has his manifestos and he has what he has promised Kenyans to do in case he happens to be elected the president. The same case to William Ruto, the same case to Wajakoya, the same case to Maure.
I also want more thoughts on Wajakoya. He seems to be the, like he has been described, the wild card here. Why do you think he's not making more of the conversation across Kenya?
For Wajakoya, at some point they happened to speculate that Wajakoya could have stepped in, possibly to come and interfere or even divert the attention for the DP or for the Raila presidency. But that one, I don't know whether that was the case. But the reason as to why Wajakoya could not be drawing a lot of attention is because mostly this is viewed as a two-horse race between Raila Odinga and the DP himself. Possibly that is why the other two are not drawing much attention, because Kenyans are focused on the presidency of either the DP or Raila himself. That is why it has been viewed as a two-horse race. And to my opinion, it could be the reason Wajakoya and Maure are not featuring that much.
Okay. Otieno, would you like to also speak on that? And also, I think you also mentioned, the possibility of Wajakoya reducing votes or taking votes from either Raila or William Ruto. So what are your thoughts on his chances?
Thank you. Yeah, I would like to contribute on this Wajakoya thing. There were speculations that he was a state project. And the theory was that he was being used to lure the youths that were lining towards the Ruto side. Because with the hustler narrative, Ruto used this to lure the youth to his side. Yeah. So there were some theories, I'll just say them as conspiracies, that people say that he was being used by either state, there are allegations, that he was being used by either state, because a state is also associated with Raila, so that he was being used to neutralize Ruto, which I will not, maybe it's true, maybe not, but as at now, he's still contesting. He's on the ballot. So if there are some news, because this is possible, but maybe, because if you look at the manifesto, the style that he came up with, the economic aspect was just, it's obnoxious. Like, they are funny. Hyena testicles, they'll be exporting marijuana, there'll be snake meat and everything. Why? When Kenya, our economy is more of agriculturally based. We should invest in agriculture, manufacture.
So what if he's trying to diversify and not just
expand on the agriculture and healthcare? You know?
Even if we Kenya, we have a range. Okay, wildlife, we are there, but what is the environmental impact that we are going to have? You know, it's a cycle. If we are going to eliminate the hyenas, we are going to eliminate the snakes, we are going to eliminate. So, and are they really practical? If we say that we are going to use this module to develop our economy, are they really practical, or these are just issues that were raised? But I want to agree with the doctor about the approach that Wajakoya raised concerning corruption. Not only in Kenya, but in Africa, corruption is a major exception of Rwanda. Rwanda is really doing well. I like the approach. Is that much as people say that Kagame is a dictator, but I like his approach. The same approach that I will have associated with the former president of Tanzania. You need to be a ruthless leader for you to rule, to do away with corruption. Put up stringent measures in place that will help to curb this corruption, because it's a mess. This is what is really derailing the development of African countries. So if we can fight this corruption, and these measures that Wajakoya has raised, that if you are associated with corruption, you'll be jailed for life or you're going to be hanged. So try touching public money and you are hanged. If that can help solve, not only in Kenya, if this can help to solve the African problem, which is corruption, I think then Africa will stand a chance.
Okay, okay, looking at this ruthless measures to deal with corruption, most times it either turns to be autocratic, or we see this fight against corruption only against the opposition and not for the member parties. Are we likely to see that in Kenya, where the corruption is just for the opposition, against the opposition?
Well, there was some KEMSA. KEMSA was raised towards the government. People said when the KEMSA scandal came, it was not towards the opposition, which in this case, we're saying tentatively that opposition is Ruto. Okay, it's a funny scenario that now the current incumbent deputy president is associated with the opposition, while the opposition leader is associated with the president. With the state. Yeah. So it's funny. It's a funny scenario, but KEMSA was associated with the Azimio side, that is the Raila Uhuru side. So we cannot say only that many issues, many corruption issues which are coming out are associated with the opposition incumbent deputy prime minister. So I don't see that it's being used as a target to target a specific group of people. No, if you're fighting corruption, be it your brother. And there was a time that one of these clips, our president said very well that when his own brother was found guilty, he was involved in some corrupt cases, he said, carry on battle, carry on cross. I'm not going to be involved. In as much as I'm your brother, I'm not going to be involved. So when it comes to corruption, I will not take any side, no matter who you are. In Africa, we need a ruthless approach, even if it requires Aristotle, whatever, the dictatorship side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because this is exactly, in a democratic dispensation, you're looking at autocracy.
To deal with corruption, I agree.
Okay. People might argue, we need better system. Dr. David Masanga, I know you are eager to share your thoughts on this one. Do we need better systems, or we need, autocracy or, a dictator?
We need to tamper democracy, tamper with some autocracy. Where we need to put in some harshness, what we call deterrent measures. Deterrent measures. For example, in Nigeria, where you are, we need real deterrent measures so that people don't touch the money. That if you are caught, you know where to go. That's a deterrent. It is not undemocratic. Don't tell me about Britain. Britain was built on dead bodies. Do you know that? Do you know how many wars Britain has fought before it comes here today? Yes, do you know how many wars Britain has fought? It is 1,922 years. Then they come to Africa to lecture to us. Oh, human rights. Oh, human rights. No. If you get human rights, we don't want you to kill people. But you put deterrent measures. What Otieno is not bringing the point home is deterrent measures. Kagame has put deterrent measures. When you go to Rwanda, and Anita, I think you better start taking an African trip. When you go to Rwanda and you arrive in Kigali, Anita, you don't spit. You don't spit. You know your saliva like that on the street. You have to look behind whether the police is there or not. You don't drop litter. That is not autocratic. You throw litter in a box. You don't destroy property and walk away. Corruption is not only taking money. Corruption is even spitting, is even public behavior. It causes corruption. You drive badly. In Lagos, if you stop at the traffic light, you are waiting for green light to come. Somebody hoots behind you to say, go quickly. Kenya here, we have a problem. Yes, Anita, and I'm sure you drive around Lagos. You have been harassed by men who want to pass very fast, overlap. That is corruption. So we must bring Wachikoya, although he came up with. Do you know, by the way, another thing Wachikoya taught me, we import medicine for vermin, for snakes poison, and snake medicine. But we can manufacture this snake medicine in Kenya. Why do you import it from South Africa? And I'm sure Nigeria imports from South Africa, plenty of it. Do you have a venom factory making medicine for snakes? There are so many snakes in Africa that kill people every day, every minute. But we import medicine. So Wachikoya brought an idea, but unfortunately, some of the ideas in Africa, they have been, bad. But a thing like a marijuana. I did not know there were two classes. I don't smoke. I have never smoked a cigarette in my life. I have 80 children, and I've told all of them, if one of them starts smoking, you never come near my carpet in my house. So I am happy that way. But I did not know that marijuana has two
strains,
yes.
they are called.
Yes, there's one for medicine, and there's one that makes people kill others. So Wachikoya's ideas must be understood in that context.
Yeah, but they might sound, like new ideas, and of course not very popular ideas. Are they good enough? Are they good enough, to make him president?
And two, I want to tell you frankly, Njoka brought something again that, Otieno said I was assumed to be near a state project. No, Wachikoya and I, Raila Odinga, Wachikoya, Matanga, we are the rebels. We used to be rebels to fight Moi. I'm a rebel. I'm a rebel leader, commander. I used to fight against dictatorship in Africa. We used to have meetings across Europe, in Paris. Yes, so Wachikoya is part and parcel of the liberation movement.
All right. Okay, Dr. Masanga, just hold on a bit. I want to bring in Justin here. And while we're looking at the candidacy of George Wachikoya and, of course, catching the youths, let's deviate a bit and look at the statistics for elections voting, especially in terms of the youth. Are we likely to see more youth participation in this election? Because there was a report that I saw that said some of the youth will be boycotting the elections.
Yes.
Now, are we likely to see more youths getting involved in the election?
Maybe, as they have said, Wachikoya's manifestos drew some attention. Like, was it meant to lure youth? Was it meant to be fascinating. I mean, for youth to see it as if, wow, so we could be part of the government if Wajakoya does this and that. But maybe there were also some alleged fears that by Wajakoya's manifestos could lure youth into voting Wajakoya. I don't know, out of whatever aspect, something which could end up messing the elections for the DP and the Raila, who are the main candidates. Possibly, what if many youth happened to vote Wajakoya? What would happen? It would be like, to some extent, these promises that Wajakoya gave youth could trigger some anxiety, some unnecessary happiness between youth, and they end up voting Wajakoya.
Well, of course, I think it should also be said, that the decision for elections go beyond marijuana and snake venom and hyenas. There's a lot more that needs to be spoken about, to convince, people to vote. I also got to see some of the young persons, who might be staying away from the elections, and their reasons where some of them feel the elections wouldn't influence their lives.
Yeah.
There's a percentage that feel the elections won't be free and fair. And then, there's also a percentage that see no reason to vote. And so, there have to be specific reasons to cajole these people to take part in the electoral process. Like I said, that marijuana may not be, a good enough reason to put someone, in the house, or, as a president, rather. There's someone else, that we don't seem to be speaking about. Of course, that's the fourth candidate. His name, David Wahiga Mwari. He's the leader of the Agano Party and also a clergyman. Does he stand any chance of convincing any voters, Justin?
Maybe for Maure, it could be, given that he is a clergyman, possibly he can end up drawing the attention of some church members who may end up voting him, because at the end of the day, he also has got his own manifestos, which may materialize or which may also not materialize. And he is just a candidate like any other. So at the end of the day, we expect, even if not many are going to vote Maure, there are some who will at the end of the day vote Maure.
All right.
Okay, let's get Otieno's view on that.
Well, as far as Maure is concerned, well, he might get some votes, but there's nothing so clear from him that I can say that may convince somebody. I really don't see, because even if I try to go through it, there's nothing clear. Wajakoya came up with these ridiculous things that is really working for him, but for this other person, no, I don't see any chance. Okay, he might get some either spoiled votes or some, but I don't see a chance. Even the clergy, these are people who reason. And instead of wasting a vote, okay, there is a state for being that, okay, we are a multi-party state here. He has a democratic right to contest, which is okay. But it's not going to bring any impact, even if you take your vote to him.
Okay, what about youth participation? Osa mentioned some of the grievances with the election. Are we likely to see more youths participate in the election?
Yeah, this election, and I see the same trend in Nigeria. I've been trying to follow Nigerian politics for a while, now that you're having your election next year. And the excitement that is with the youths of Nigeria is the exact thing that I'm seeing in Kenya. In Twitter, right now, is being controlled mostly by the youths. Yeah. And many people are trying to use these media, like platforms like Twitter, as a means of communication, or rather as a means to get to the audience. And if you go by statistics, I think by now that the major stakeholders, should I say stakeholders in Twitter, majority of them are the youths. So And this is where many people have been trying to target. And a good number of youths, based on the Twitter reactions that I've seen, a good number of youths are really ready. Yesterday I was going through some the charts and whatever. Many youths are really expressing their interest in participating in the election. But to equate this to the outcome is another whole story.
Okay, in general, what about voter participation? We have about 32 million registered voters for the election. 22 million registered voters. Are we likely to see a huge turn-up of the elections, of voters, rather?
Yeah. I expect that, of course, being that now there are many factors involved. There is the Wajakoya side that is going to bring the youth. There is the Iron Lady side that is really, and also these are, okay, as Doctor said, these are people who fought for our democracy, our multi-party and everything, Dr. The Raila, Martha. So many people are excited. And also, another scenario that I will try to bring in is that there is likelihood, for the first time, there is likelihood that this election is inclined towards one side. Okay, most of the pollsters that have been carried out, most of the opinion polls, they are really towards one side. So this is an area that they are always been off the government. They always find themselves like they don't want to vote. But if they go by this, now, wow, we stand a chance. For the first time now we see this thing coming. I think this is a motivation that we are going to have a very turnout. The turnout is going to be high as compared to the previous, except that only thing that might disappoint is the cancellation of these two gubernatorial places. That one is really concerning, and I'm really concerned about what happened.
Okay. All right. Just to also quickly put it in perspective, talking about the last elections, it was, of course, 8.2 million votes for Uhuru Kenyatta. That gave him victory, of course, against 6.8 to Raila Odinga in 2017. Of course, then there was a rerun sometime later in October. Before we go further, David Masanga, I will be bringing you in very soon to speak about Raila Odinga, aged 77. I would like you to speak on what his age really, and of course the perspective that might also play. But we have Simon, who's joining us on the line also to share his thoughts on the elections. Morning, Simon. Thanks for your time. Thanks for joining us.
Simon, can you get us up to speed? Where you are exactly and what's going on at the moment?
And you may need to unmute your device also.
Simon, can you kindly unmute your device, please, so that we can hear you?
All right. All right. While we, of course, try to connect with Simon there to share with us, what the voting process is like at his location. Let's go back to David Masanga. Okay, I think we can hear Simon now. Good morning, Simon.
Good morning to you. Hi, how are you?
Very well. Thanks for your time this morning. Share with us, what's your location and what's the process like over there?
Very well. I am currently in Bondo constituency. This is the home constituency of Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Amolo Odinga. And where we are at a county hall polling station. This is where his elder brother, Oburu Odinga, who is
All right.
Okay.
Seem to have lost him again. Dr. David Masanga, let's come back to you. William Ruto, 55 years old. Raila Odinga, 77 years.
I can see Dr. Masanga old.
So, of course, we've been having conversations about, Africa's future. Once in a while, you've also mentioned Paul Kagame in Rwanda. Steve Otieno here has also spoken about the young population in Nigeria and where their attention currently is, and it seems to be people in their 60s, late 50s, maybe around that range. A 77-year-old candidate in Kenya, is this in any way maybe something to be concerned about?
First of all, the saying goes, age is accompanied by wisdom.
And what about the physical strength?
Yeah. If that's the case, we will be looking at 80-year-olds and 100-year-olds.
Yes, let me tell you, Rita, I am 67. But when I take off these glasses, can you look at me like I'm 67?
You look like you're in your 30s.
Rita, my firstborn is 43 years old, a lady.
Wow.
My name, yes, Miriam. Miriam is my firstborn daughter. And I have 80 children. The last born is 24.
Okay, Dr. Masanga, what you're trying to explain to us the wisdom in the age. We have Simon with us right now. Simon, if you can hear us, please tell us your location and get us up to speed on the election process so far. Simon, if you can hear us, kindly on. Okay, thank you. Go on.
Yes, very well. I am in Bondo constituency. This is the home constituency of Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Amolo Odinga, and where I am at now is a town county polling station. This is where his elder brother Oburu Odinga, who is also gunning for the senatorial seat, will be actually casting his vote not long from now. And of course, if the camera can actually show that is the line of voters who've actually showed up very early in the morning to actually come and cast their vote. They've been queuing since morning, and the process so far, as it was slated to actually begin at 6 a.m. in the morning, it kicked off as scheduled. Most of the polling stations actually opened at 6. And as we speak right now, we are waiting to see any untoward incidents occurring in this particular area. However, what I can actually report is that I've been doing round around markets and other places. All those places are actually closed as we speak for business. What is happening is that all polling stations are actually jammed with people, the way you can actually see in the background. Most of them have actually come out. This is, of course, in accordance with the message that has actually been perpetuated over and again by politicians, asking people to actually turn out in large numbers so that then they can actually cast their votes.
Okay, what's the security presence like in the area?
Yeah, the presence is the security presence is actually enhanced, as is the case, as usually the case when we are doing elections. Usually, what happens in the country is that we have 2 policemen manning each polling station, polling centers, and of course, there's also another emergency unit that is actually on standby just in case there's need for enhancement of security from the 2 policemen, probably to more if need arises.
Okay, well, pretty interesting. And, you know, the figures, are they also inspiring? Do you see a large crowd out there, you know, trying to vote?
Quite impressive since morning. Like, again, I can try and see if the camera can actually get hold of the queues. And this has been the case in many polling stations that we've actually gone to. This is a very small polling station right in the middle of Bondo town. And you can actually see the queue, how long it is. And when you go further into the villages, you would actually see a number of villagers who've actually come out in large numbers, keen to actually cast their vote.
Okay, Simon, looking at the geography of Kenya, you're in Bondo district in Kenya. Can you get us up to speed? What exactly are the volatile areas or red areas where you feel that there might be security threats for this election?
The National Commission or Integration Commission, NCIC, mapped out a number of counties in the country that they felt that there was a likelihood of actually violence occurring, and of course post-election violence occurring. And some of the areas included Kisumu, Homa Bay.
We might have lost him again.
Okay, he was listing some of the counties, red flag. I don't know if Dr. Masanga can quickly get us up to speed on that.
And Dr. Masanga, you know, and also to mention there were, you know, conversations on battleground counties, you know, that these 2 candidates would have that would very likely be the deciding counties on where this election goes. So also add that to your conversation before we go back to talking about a 77-year-old age of wisdom.
Yes, he was mentioning the hot spots. One of them was Kisumu, one of them was Nakuru, one of them was Mombasa. You know, one of them. These are the hot spots where we expected that things could turn out to be, and of course Eldoret, which where the mastermind himself comes from, the deputy president. And those are some of the hot spots that were mentioned. But the battleground, and let me be factual here. There are 22.2 million voters. Otieno should have told you that out of this population, only that is the population registered. The men like us, the elderly, in the bracket, we have 13.5 million. That bracket of 35 and above, up to 60, 70. And those are the voters. The youth, most of the youth, Rita and my brother, are on social media, on Twitter. Ruto has more supporters, more party members. This is, Njoka will tell you that was what came out. Ruto has more members in UDA than registered voters. That report came out by IEBC. Only 8.5 million youths registered. The rest are on rallies, wearing t-shirt outside yellow, inside blue.
But what seems to be the reason for this? Why do we have more of people online rather than registered voters? What exactly is the issue?
People have not sold their agenda properly. You can't give a youth a wheelbarrow when your son is studying in Oxford.
No. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You are telling the Kenyan youth that we have to use a wheelbarrow when your son has gone to Poland and she's an ambassador there, enjoying the privileges of power. No. The youth agenda was not sold properly. So it laid down to voter apathy. And summarily, let me summarize for this on the voting button and the battlegrounds. If Ruto, if the central province of Kenya does not register 70% of voter turnout, there is a saying in Kenya, kata simu, I am on the ground. Cut the phone, I'm here. Ruto will go home today by 12 midnight.
Okay.
If
all right, Justin.
If the voter turnout does not come, and Njoka in the studios in Mombasa is laughing because it is serious. Ruto made a very terrible mistake. He concentrated on Uhuru Kenyatta area. It is like you people in Nigeria, you come and insult the Igbos. The Igbo will not vote. They will keep quiet. They will go home and sit. They will not vote. Ruto made a mistake to go and insult the Kikuyus and insult their king, the king of the Kikuyu, Muthamaki. Otieno will tell you what Muthamaki means. It's the king. He says he has the final word. And Ruto went to insult him, tell him so many bad words, which I cannot mention here. Children are watching our TV. All right. The Kikuyu are like the Igbo. They vote later on this. They just decide now. They have now decided. Now. You will see there will be more tears here.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Masanga.
Rita, as we finish, right. I've already received my results from Australia.
Dr. Masanga, we need to go to our news.
Dr. Masanga, just hold on that.
Speaking to the people of Kenya and selling our agenda and our manifesto and having discussions across the country. This morning, it's D-Day, and we have come to vote with my wife and my neighbors and the people in this community. As you have all seen, everybody here wants a peaceful process. We even have had a spontaneous prayer, and that prayer was all about having a peaceful election. So I'm very happy that this morning the exercise of choosing the next leaders of Kenya for the next 5 years is now underway, not just here, but everywhere in Kenya. I want to ask all voters like myself to do this exercise, go vote peacefully and intentionally and deliberately, so that we can choose the men and women who have a plan to take our country to the next level over the next 5 years. I am very confident that the people of Kenya will make choices that will take our country to the future. This morning, the people, the people of Kenya will choose. And let me say that in moments like this is when the mighty and the powerful come to the realization that it is the simple and the ordinary that eventually make the choice. And this morning, in their simplicity, in their being ordinary, every Kenyan will choose the next leaders for our country. And all of us submit to the authority and the power of the vote as exercised by every Kenyan. It is upon all of us to respect the choices of the people of Kenya, as will be done today in every part of the Kenya, in every part of the Republic of Kenya. And I look forward to a victorious day.
Privilege.
I'll tell them I have voted. You can see the ink. Kindly get out and vote. It's our day today to determine the direction this country takes. Make your voice heard.